Yeah, it's great to talk to you. Could I just ask one favor?
Yeah, of course.
So normally I do the intro for these kind of things, but
Yeah.
I have a
Mhm.
script. Can I get you to read it off?
Sure. Welcome to Ringside Collectibles Figure Insider. Ever wanted to know what it was like when an icon became Australian? Well, now you can know with the all-new Nick Storm review figure, which comes in Elite Series 69.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh man,
Good?
I wanted that. Oh man, that was awesome. All right. And g'day, ladies and gents. It's Nick Storm, the Australian icon, and I am joined with Tom Sanford the fifth. Tom, how are you fucking doing?
Nick, thank you for having me, man. I'm doing great. I'm so happy to talk to you finally. We've been chatting back and forth for a while, and I'm glad we finally got to sit down and take some time. But I'm doing great. Why I'm not that great, because I've never been to Australia and I want to go. So
Oh, well, there you
we
go.
should
Well,
be doing this with Hungry Jacks right now, not with not over a Zoom meeting.
oh man, it's so like annoying to always call it Burger King because people in America and stuff like
Yeah.
that don't know it's Hungry Jack's. But you, my friend, you are like well versed in the Australian culture. Have you been here before?
I haven't been there before. I was catfished by a really good looking Australian girl. So at the time, as I was trying to learn more about her, I was like, I need to know as much about Australia as I can. And anytime I find a new place, I'm like, what kind of fast food does this culture have? And that's always like the first thing I check. So
Yeah,
of course, right away, I found Hungry Jacks, and I was like, this is great.
that's a smart thing to know as well. That's actually
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
actually some good knowledge to have.
Especially for a catfish.
Exactly. Yeah, my bad about that. I apologize for that years ago, but it's okay.
Dude,
Um,
why? Why was that? Why did you do that?
man,
I was naked.
it was kind of funny. I don't. It's kind of chuckle, you know. It's a little April Fool's joke. No, but guys, if you don't know Tom here, he's an astounded journalist in the wrestling figure community, as he's done tons of stuff for Ringside Collectibles YouTube channels such as Ringside Riot, and of course Ringside Collectibles Figure Insider, interviews many other projects as well. And now the interviewer becomes the interviewee, and yeah, I'm so happy to freaking have you here, man. It's
I'm
awesome.
happy to be here, bud. It's great to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah, likewise. So we're gonna get into the nitty gritty, not really. Well, I have questions here. I have my cheat sheet of
Sure.
questions. But I noticed you were in Croatia recently as well, like we talked
Yeah.
about on Instagram.
Mhm.
How was that experience?
It's been great. I'm actually, I believe it or not, I'm in Slovenia right now, and
Oh, wow.
yeah. So my now fiance, I just got engaged
Oh,
a little
congratulations.
over a week ago. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thanks. She's Slovenian, and so I'm basically working on getting as much Slovenian in as possible and learning the language. And we were able to visit once before the pandemic started, but now I'm back to spend a little bit more time and work remotely over the summer, those kinds of things. So
Cool.
it's been great. Yeah, and then Croatia, her grandmother lives in Croatia, so we were able to spend some time there. Dude, it's a new world. Like, you and I were sitting talking on Zoom like this about
Hmm.
wrestling figures. Pretty great. So we maybe wouldn't have, back when I was doing Ringside or Riot, probably not a chance that we would like talk to this level. I mean, maybe, with a lot more work than it takes now, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Not that this isn't work, not that you're lazy, because you're not. I know you're not.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it's this is like it's much simpler to connect than it used to be, I think. So
yeah. Especially with the pandemic and everything like that. Like businesses like Zoom, for example, just skyrocketed, I feel like, especially for
yeah,
teaching and all that. And you mentioned talking about wrestling figures over Zooms. Now, you recently did the San Diego Comic Con reveals with actually Bill and Steve.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that was pretty recently. That was like only a few days ago, I think it got
Yeah, just a
announced.
few days ago. I love to sit with Bill and Steve. I of course, I like I said in that video, I like to see them in person, but even over Zoom, when we're able to talk about that stuff, like I feel like there's a lot of good chemistry when the three of us get together, and
Yeah.
we all really like the product, especially a lot of the classic stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. It's fun to fun to talk about. You know, obviously, like I'm a Ringside Collectibles lifer, so I can't imagine doing that for anybody else, or talking about that for with representing anybody else or anything like that. So it's Comic-Con's always a good time. As crazy as it gets, it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah. What con do you think you're most excited to get back to when this whole thing maybe blows over?
dude, that so that I just gave you my fluff answer. Now you're like, well, if you want to be in person and there's like thousands of people going in one direction and you're going in the other direction because you're late for an interview, like if I'm answering it that way, I'm like, geez, do I really even want to go back? But I think probably Comic-Con. It doesn't get any like bigger and better than that. Like everyone has a presence there. I'm also like, you probably know this if you were watching Ringside or Riot, because I used to steal jokes all the time, but I'm a huge Simpsons fan, and there's always like a Simpsons presence at Comic-Con. So it's great to see like the other things that you're interested in also besides the wrestling figures. But it's you really can't beat it when it happens. That's normally like the most exciting time of year, unless like, let's say there's something really, really specific coming out, like some sort of movie or something like that, and say like, oh, they're announcing the next Chucky movie at this like New York Comic-Con. Maybe I'd be more excited for that one, but I think San Diego you kind of can't beat. It's got pretty much everything, and it always seems like the biggest.
Yeah.
So
I've never been to a Comic-Con again. I think we have like a like really run down version of Comic-Con over here. Obviously not as grand as like San Diego Comic-Con, for example. So hopefully I can catch you there one day. That'd be freaking awesome.
That'd be great. It'd be cool if you came, but also what's that?
At the wrestling figure booth, like every
yeah. Dude, the Mattel booth, they always have like a massive presence there. I remember one year, the line was still kind of young, and it's maybe like a few years into the line, but they had, I'm pretty sure they had either every single basic or every single elite figure or both. And it was just like on display, and to see after like such a short period of time, like literally every single figure standing there, it's kind of crazy. It's pretty surreal, like how many of these have been made. And obviously there's so many distinct looks and favorite personalities and stuff like that. So seeing them all laid out like that, we'll probably never get that again, I don't think. Because if they were to do that now, it would be like obviously like massive.
It'd just be buckets upon buckets, basically. They wouldn't even bother displaying them.
That sounds like my closet.
That sounds like on my floor right now.
Yeah, that's what you eventually it just becomes buckets and baggies, You're like, oh no. You always have them with. I'm not even in my actual apartment right now, and still baggies of wrestling figures. Oh shoot. Shit. They all just came out. That's all right.
You can do figure insiders of them later. It's fine.
Yeah,
exactly. More prepped now.
I have. Now they're prepped. This is the on the floor version. Yeah. On the floor edition.
It's a variant for like $50 more.
It is now because his face just hit the ground and it's like smushed. So definitely a variant.
Yeah. So you said you're in Slovenia right now, and you brought a lot of figures with you. I was actually on vacation. A couple of weeks ago maybe, and I too had to bring figures with me. I couldn't I couldn't not, it's such a big part like that of my life, and I thought maybe I'd be like, a little bit childish for bringing them, but I'm an adult, man. All right,
decoration, man. Yeah, exactly, you gotta set the zen of the room however you want, like here's the Rock right here.
Yeah.
Beep, beep, beep. So like if I need the Rock up in the corner cutting a promo, what's the big deal? Yeah. Doesn't matter where I am,
I've got a mini Nick Storm just like cutting.
Oh, it's so accurate, by the way. I think that's like the best you can get. Maintain that look, man.
Oh man, these glasses are never coming off. So basically I have like a whole storyline to the Sunnies as well. So basically I don't have eyes, it's just soulless pits. And if you stare into them, you stare into the void, basically. So for everyone's protection, I put these on. And even for myself, sometimes I have to wear these sunglasses. So, yeah. But if you want to know what figure Nick Storm looks like, just look at a John Morrison basic head, and then you'll know exactly.
You're like Cyclops, but worse, huh? Like
Yeah,
more intense.
but worse. I collect wrestling figures, you know.
The void is because when you dive into the soulless eyes, all you see is just toys, and it never ends. And it just it's like the deepest, darkest pit of only wrestling figures, right?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to speak for you. If there is something else in there, let me know. But
there is, but you pretty much wrapped it up. There's a little bit. Yeah, look, I'll get into it maybe one day.
Good.
Open up to about my soulless eyes. But again, like I said, you interview and stuff like that. You interview the wrestlers and stuff like that for Ringside Collectibles. Yeah. And I want to know, how'd you get into journalism in the first place? Like, what's your whole story behind that?
Let's see. So for me, it was a little bit different. I went to college for film, so I've always been like more of like a film studies video person, you know. And when I started at Ringside, I was lucky enough where this was like when YouTube was just starting. So Ringside gave me the opportunity to start working on the channel, and I noticed even at that time, you know, this is before the days of influencers and things like that.
Oh, like myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, before the Nick Storm review showed up, there were product reviews and things like that, but they were pretty straightforward. You know, like there wasn't really like a personality behind it, and so I feel like over the years, you can see if you look at the old if you look at the old Ringside Collectibles stuff, you can see like my awkward 20s, just like, like I didn't really know how to get my hair cut. Yeah, that weird. Oh, geez. It wasn't even a bowl cut? No way. Not a chance. That was just like, I didn't know how to cut my hair other than like get a shaved head. And I never knew how to like keep it clean. That's enough of that. Yeah. Don't use the word bowl cut ever again. Yuck.
Yeah, sorry. That's my bad.
It's all good. I'm kidding. But then as time went on, like, you know, for me, that was also like kind of running through the ringer a little bit. Like I learned how to be creative and how to get a lot of people now are like doing that sort of thing at home, like a lot younger than I was. But for me, you know, I made some projects in film school, but Ringside Collectibles was really my place to, okay, how can I come up with like a good creative idea and have a lot of fun with this? So it's not just like, hey, here I am, like, look at me talking about this, you know?
You could
I think there's like room. What's that?
You can still get away with that. That's what I do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You still can get away with that, but I think I think what I like about you, Nick, is that you are thinking about outside the box. You do stuff like in a really fun way. There's a lot going on, you know. And
thank you.
I think that's kind of how I was thinking about it at the time. I was like, how do I make this more exciting and kind of like hopefully we can get to some places where there's like some unforgettable projects. So it was like for example, one of my favorites is the stuff that I did with Jay Lethal, if you remember those videos.
Yeah. Oh my God, I was gonna bring this up.
Yeah. So like the Macho King video with Jay Lethal, like I sat down and like scripted it out, and he and I were talking about it before, and I gave him the room to kind of like cut his own promo with it, and same with the NWO Macho Man video. We did the same. That guy is just so talented, and he's such a great guy. And I had so much fun with him making those videos that like, I was like, this is exactly, I wish I could do this all the time. You know what I mean? I wish this was possible for each elite figure, and obviously it's not, but when you can think of those times where you really have a good idea and make that stuff more creative, and also the thing is, we didn't do it for a lot of money. You know what I mean? I think some people get intimidated that stuff might cost a lot of money, but it was like pretty low budget still, you know? So to be able to work with a low budget and come with something like that's really cool, I think is always what I strive for with them. So
yeah, especially because you show your personality a lot as well. Like you make witty jokes and everything like that. I think that's what I gravitated towards so much in those early figure insiders. Again, and yeah, because it was so like jam-packed, like so many figure insiders. I remember like, when did you start doing figure insiders? Like 2010 maybe, around there?
2008, honestly.
2008.
2009. Yeah, it was. So I started with Ringside doing some other jobs in roughly 2008, and I think it was like the beginning of 2009 that we started talking about like my my video background and stuff and what we could do on the YouTube channel. So 2009, I think, was when it started.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Not long after, I think
Mhm.
2011 is when I discovered Ringside Collectibles. And get this, I was 10.
No
So
shit. Yeah.
yeah. So
Wow.
I've like watched Ringside Collectibles for half my life, basically. I'm 20 now.
Hmm.
So yeah, you were like a huge part of my childhood, especially like the Ringside riots. Because I think is there only like one season of it, or
There
is there
was I did about 2 seasons, and then there was the
That's right, yeah.
season with Nick and Jerry, and then Noel did the because
I
you
remember
know
Noah, yeah.
yeah I actually left. I moved away from Ringside Collectibles based in New York, New York City, and I moved away from New York, so I had to leave the job at the time, and life changes and things like that go on. So I was only around for those first couple seasons of Ringside Riot, but my whole plan was to kind of like lay that groundwork so other people could do the show, and they did, and it was really successful for a while Noel
Yeah.
was on there and Nick was on there, and some of the other folks.
All the classics, yeah. The one that really
Yeah,
stood
yeah.
out for me, the episode, because you did very, very like lay the groundwork, and
Thank
everyone
you.
else, you built the foundation, everyone else built with it. And the episode that sticks out to me is when you're a Dramatico, and I think you're at Ringside Fest,
Yeah, yep.
right?
The one in Times Square. Yeah,
Yeah. And just like handing
yeah.
out figure, or like
Hmm.
you're going like, look at this John Cena or something like that.
That's classic Ringside Riot, man.
Yeah.
That was also before actually I even started like actually training for wrestling. As time went on, I started doing like training and stuff like that. And so at the time, I like had combat boots on. I had like weird wrist tape. I didn't really. It's funny the things that you don't realize until you're like actually really close to and actually participating with wrestling, that you kind of think as like a fan or an observer, because I had like the wrong knee pads, all kinds of things. And so it was which I think makes that even funnier, because
Yeah.
like, yeah, I was kind of playing wrestler in that moment instead of, as opposed to being an actual wrestler, which
Yeah.
obviously was the point. But yeah, that was a classic one. Cold day though. Very cold.
Oh, I can
Very
imagine
cold.
everyone's wearing like pretty much top gear winter clothes, and
Yeah.
you're just out there in like your trunks and knee pads and stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
A little bit
That
nippy
was
outside.
wild.
Yeah.
A little nippy. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dramatico as well. I want to talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
So it's basically, if anyone doesn't know, it's basically Tom's character, and I want you to go into like in depth. How'd you conjure up this character? And it made a few appearances in Figure Insiders, right?
Yeah. It was so for a while it was like Figure Insider. I always wanted to have other like skits going on. So, to me, I was a little bit, everybody has a hard time watching wrestling sometimes. Like, you like what you like and you don't like what you don't like. And for me
Yeah.
at the time, there was just so much I didn't like on TV. And it was like, how do I make this fun for myself? And I used to do that through Figure Insider. And so the skits and stuff helped me really kind of enjoy what was on TV a little bit more. Like, I remember I did like a Dramatico promo one time with about Aces and Eights, like the Brooke Hogan and Bully Ray wedding, which
Yeah.
was one of my favorite ones. And then I would just think like, what's the right thing to do? Uh, there's always some sort of like Shakespearean element to it, but I always felt like Dramatico was kind of like a living meme almost, you know what I mean? Like, I always had like internet memes and stuff in the back of my head, and I think that's gotten a little bit crazier in this day and age. So
Yeah.
Dramatico, it's a little bit harder for me to catch on to that now. I think, I don't know if the character would work as well
Yeah.
unless you change something about it now. But at the time, it was like, okay, I'll do some like I'll think of some Shakespeare quotes I know. I'll think of a lot of it was like my personality coming out and the things that I really wanted to. It was like my way to say things about stuff that I couldn't say like as Tom,
Yeah.
and so the first appearance for that was the Pink and Black Attack ringside exclusive.
Oh my
The
god, that's
Bret
my
Hart
most
Park.
sought after figure. Like
Yeah,
ever,
yeah.
yeah. That's a beautiful piece. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one, man. I actually gave mine to a friend a few years ago. So,
I
because
should get a
if only you had known me then,
Yeah.
I'd have sent it your way.
I mean, I'll
Because
take the
that's the
rest of
thing.
your collection.
Also, you know what? If you make friends with Tom, he gives things away because he's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's totally possible. But because there's just so much, you know what I mean? And I enjoy a lot of it, but also I've learned to enjoy like a smaller collection over my life. So I like having like a good selection of some of my favorites, and then everything else I'm like, hey, if we run into each other, like here you go, you know. So anyways, yeah, like there was the pink and black attack was like the first appearance, and I was like, oh, this will be really funny because like I'm out of shape and I'm like really kind of like skinny fat, like Triple H used to say. And
Yeah.
this will be, you know, it'll be really good for me to like get on camera and everyone will laugh about this. And I was right. But then as time went on, I was like, maybe I could take this a little more seriously, you know? And I think that helped. I think the character was really funny at first, but then as I started to be like, actually, you know, maybe this is like something I can bring into the ring. Maybe I can train with this. Maybe this is like something that I could have matches with. Like maybe this is what I love about wrestling. And as that started to happen, to me, it started to improve in Ringside Riot, and also like the stuff I did with it after I left Ringside Collectibles. So
yeah, wow, yeah. And how far did you go into the wrestling as well with that character?
Pretty far. I mean, so my original goal was like when I first started wrestling and training and stuff like that, I was at NYWC wrestling school, which is on Long Island, New York. And they were like, it was a really great place to train. And then when I moved to Boston, I was training at New England Pro Wrestling Academy, also a really great place to train. And so my original goal was like, we're going to make this like documentary film for Ringside, and I'll have one match and that's it. Like kind of cross this off my bucket list or whatever. But then I started to like really understand, like, you know, I actually really love this. And this is not really like a bucket list thing. You know, I get almost like personally offended, you know, and I'll probably make some people mad with this. I hope not. But like when people want to have like one wrestling match for their bucket list or something, to me, it's like, you know, I'd rather you didn't. Like, this is part of the reason that wrestling maybe can be not as good, is because there's too many people that maybe shouldn't be doing it. So you have to, in my opinion, you have to earn the ability to be able to participate. But of course, with that comes relationships and making friends with people, and how bad do you want it? And a lot of people really want to work for WWE. And for me, like, that was never really my goal. Like, so it becomes this kind of thing of like, how do you fit into wrestling? So for me, how I fit in was like, I wanted to train hard. I wanted to make sure every time I had a match that it seemed like a good match. Like, and of course, at first you can't really have great matches. You have like, you know, everybody kind of has a hard time and has to learn. Yeah. That'll never happen. I think Brock Lesnar is probably the only person that had a first match 6-star match, but
yeah.
So you really have to work hard at it. And what happened with me is like, there were times where I felt, you know, I can't really work as hard at this right now because, you know, this is like my full-time job is like really intense, and you know, video and stuff like that really matters to me. And it doesn't just like live and die with wrestling. Like, I'm working outside of wrestling right now. So I would dedicate a lot of time to like my real full-time job. And that would kind of pull me away from wrestling and Dramatico and stuff like that, because honestly, man, it's a lot of work to juggle like a really busy full-time job with like wrestling, which is like a really busy part-time job if you're doing it the right way.
It's a really busy hobby as well.
Totally. Yeah. It's so, yeah, exactly. Like even wrestling figures, it's like there's so much all the time, everywhere to keep track of, to organize. Like, you're totally right about that. So you kind of got to pick your battles. So for me, I came in and out. The last time I trained was like, you know, a little over right before the pandemic started, I think was like the last time. And then of course that changes everything. So it's like, it's been a couple of years, but I have, you get to the point where like you have the itch, if you're really somebody that's like into it and knows the things you're good at and knows the things you can do, the things you can't do. And so I've always been really honest with myself about wrestling, and I don't think it's over for me completely. I think there's like room for me to have matches that I really enjoy. And that's like, those are my goals, you know, to be able to like wrestle in front of people that I think would have a really good time watching my wrestling match in a way that's not just like always comedy almost, you know, like there's things that are funny about it, but there's things that are like really good and really entertaining and really great about wrestling that don't necessarily have to include like too much silliness, I think. And that's always, so for me, it's like at this point, if I can have a wrestling match that either like my family is able to see, or like my friends, or somebody like you that, you know, we're friends from so far away now, if like
Yeah.
you're able to see a wrestling match of mine and like
Oh man.
you really enjoy that to me would be really cool. So
I'd
I
interfere.
haven't
I'd turn
quite
heel like straight away. It'd be like it'd be like the whole like shield breakup. Then whoa, man.
that would be, I would be so sad.
And
That
then
would be I'd be
and
on
then
my
we put on the
knees just
6-star
screaming in
match.
the ring. Exactly.
And
There
it'll
you
be my
go. There
first
you
match,
go.
and I'll trump Brock Lesnar's record right there.
I'm not shocked by that.
Yeah.
Dude, if anyone can put on a first match 6-star, it's you. If it's
I'll
not
take my
Brock.
sunglasses off, and you'll just like get captivated.
Oh, look what he's doing. He's using the blank void where his eyes used to be.
That's perfect, and you can be on commentary at the same time. Have a headset on.
That sounds like an unprecedented match with the person in the match on commentary, and a finishing move of a blank void stare is like that's, dude. I think you found it. I don't think wrestling can get any crazier than that.
That's my edge. Yeah. Talking about wrestling as well, training. I tried doing a little bit of wrestling training. Man, it's tough.
It's tough, yeah.
I think I did maybe like a month or 3 sessions a week, and I realized how much money I was losing from it as well, and just because I don't have like a really stable job at the moment.
Yeah.
So wrestling training was like it's put on the back burner for me. But yeah, man, it was tough. I could not get like back rolls or like forward rolls properly. I was like, what's wrong? Am I a baby? Am I a child? What is this? But you know,
it's yeah. It's tough, man. I wouldn't say you're a baby or a child. I do think I don't. Do you feel like you're athletic to a degree, or you know,
I probably used to
were
be.
you in the past? Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
used to be.
Yeah.
So to me, that was always the most important part. Is like I was like a really terrible athlete in high school and things like that, and I was never good at. You know, everyone's like, "Oh, you're so tall, basketball," and I just like I used to not be able to shoot a shot to save my life, and somewhere, you know, as time went on in my 20s, and I realized like, you know, you kind of have to hit the gym, you have to like do these kinds of things. My athleticism got a little bit better. Like I'm still weird looking, and I still kind of like run like a cartoon and stuff like that. But
Yeah, me too.
there's a little bit of athleticism to it that I think that I otherwise didn't have in the past. And so if you can really focus on that and make sure that like you're being enough of an athlete to make wrestling work, and to think about those things like shoulder rolls and it's tough, but you have to take it easy. You have to kind of like don't do anything that you don't know how to do without like somebody trying to teach you that, and really listen when you're learning. And it can be frustrating. It's frustrating, but it's also like, as long as you're putting the right amount of like work into making your body like a better body, which I think is also something that's you know, obviously there's so many great athletes in wrestling.
In general, that's just like so important. You know what I mean? Like
so important.
Physical health, like keeping on track of it, because it also plays into mental health as well.
Yeah. It's totally true. And that's, you know, mental health is a big part of it too. Like if you are not motivated for it, or if it's like making you feel like you need to be somewhere else, then maybe you do need to be somewhere else. I think the good thing about wrestling, actually let me tell you this story. The last day I was training, a friend of mine is actually Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah,
NXT's
cool.
Carmelo Hayes, and he is
recently debuted.
He's done really well for himself, right? Like he is a really excellent athlete. The guy's just like a natural, and he gave me some really good advice last time I was there. It was like, if your head's not right, get your head right, because this shit don't go nowhere. And he's right. I don't think wrestling's ever going to die. I think it's always going to be around in some form or another, to be able to come back to. If you're putting yourself in the right place to be involved in it, you're going to be even better. If you're in the wrong place to be involved, I've heard all kinds of guys say this sort of thing. Like Triple H has said this, like, don't do it if you don't love it. And it's okay if in the moment, like, you need a little break, you know? So that's kind of how I looked at it. But then when you come back, you got to be ready to come back. You can't just like be in it, have one foot in and one foot out. You know, you really gotta like put the effort and the time into it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Wrestling is not going anywhere soon, especially with where it's at right now. Like in this current state of wrestling, my goodness, WWE is producing. It's going all right. AEW is doing really well as well. I think
Yeah, yeah.
Impact is doing fantastic as well now. So even GCW, things like that. There's a ton of wrestling. It's such a good time to be a wrestling fan right now, I feel like.
I totally agree with you. I think I have some hit or miss moments with certain things. I'm just like
Yeah.
anybody else, you know.
Yeah.
I know people have issues with what he says, but I still listen to Jim Cornette, and I still think like I still really value the things that he says, because to me, I don't think that wrestling's so far away. I think you can still, have that be the way that it works. It doesn't always have to be at a level where it's just kind of this new crazy thing. Like there's older elements of wrestling that he references all the time that are still really important and are still being missed, in my opinion. And so there's some things I can't, it's maybe it'll grow on me, but something like a GCW, I know it's really, and not to knock Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona on this. Like I'm happy for him. I'm happy with everything he's got going on right now, and I'm happy the attention there it is, the old LI man.
Yeah.
I'm happy for those guys that are making that kind of thing work, but it's just not my personal preference. So when I see like really good matches with like maybe like a Bobby Lashley, or maybe like a good Kenny Omega match, or patiently waiting for the really good Christian Cage matches in AEW, and seeing him have a match with a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs was like a lot of fun for me, So two great wrestlers that I think are making each other look really good. And this is like a really young wrestler and a really old wrestler. So I think, to me, if it's going to continue, and if it's going to like stay really exciting for all of us, people have to kind of drop like the old guys versus young guys thing they have a little bit. They can just be like, don't worry about that so much. Let's just see like what the person can bring to the table in that moment. Maybe Christian Cage should beat Powerhouse Hobbs. Maybe, look, he did, he found a way that tells a really good story that this match took place, and he won. He's the vet, right? It happens. I think for a lot of people, the world comes crashing down when their favorite wrestler loses. And to a degree, I can relate to that, because I was like annoyed like everyone else when Randy Orton was constantly beating Christian, when you were like 8 or 9 years old, basically. That was like, that.
Yeah.
So here I was a grown man at the time, like much older. And I was like, oh my God, when are they going to give Christian his due, But really, I look back at that, and it was just like, it's a compelling story that really worked well at the time. And obviously I was angry, so I was invested, I was watching, and
you're giving attention. So you're giving basically giving reaction, which is what it needs, And
exactly.
You're right. I'm probably like 8 or 9 going, Wendy win again. Yay. You know what I mean?
Okay. Which is totally okay and understandable, but
yeah, I don't know.
I think your favorites can still be your favorites even if they lose. I think is a hard thing that people have like don't really understand. In the I think of the Attitude Era, which was like when I was like between 10 and 15, like that whole period is when like my time frame of watching that. And X-Pac's my favorite wrestler of all time. He used to lose all the time. I didn't care. I was like, he's still awesome. When he would win, it would be even better. But
man, he's cool.
There's the guys you really like, and you gravitate towards them, and that's how it goes. So loosen up, and is what I would say to people that are watching wrestling, and just loosen up and have fun with it, and don't be so concerned who's getting pushed and not pushed and these kinds of things. Just like one day, all the bad writers and all those things, it'll just like float away, and then we'll be back to a place where hopefully we'll get some better stuff on TV.
Yeah, a lot of people do get worked up about that stuff. So
yeah,
I'm just like you on it. So I see a lot of people sharing their opinions, hating on products and stuff like that. I'm just like, I mean, I'll watch it regardless. Like, you should just like be patient with it. There's a lot of things in building phases as well, just to amp up storylines. So people can get really annoyed at that for some reason.
Yeah, well, and to me it's understandable, because to WWE and AEW's discredit, they can drop things, and they can you can expect something and then they just completely derail it. Who knows? Like you can tell even like talents of the different companies speak out about this regularly. Like, we don't know what happened. Like, oh, this is really annoying. there's my only reaction to that is to like, just like I was talking about with the actual training, like you can be in and be out. It's okay to step away from wrestling. And even when I was like not watching on a regular basis, which has happened to me like sporadically over the past few years,
Yeah.
all you have to do is like pay attention and see what's going on. And if something sounds exciting to you, like I watched, I stick to kind of a couple yearly pay-per-views and that's it for me, like that was like I'll always watch Royal Rumble because it's like my favorite pay-per-view and I can kind of come in and see what's going on. What happened to me this year when I watched Royal Rumble, one of my all-time favorites comes back as a surprise in the Royal Rumble, and then goes to AEW, which is like even crazier, So, oh look, there's finally some element of this that I'm there for, and I want to see, okay, what's Christian going to do next? I thought he was retired. I wasn't expecting anything from him ever again, So that sort of thing is cool, and it's okay to be outside until you find something like that brings you back. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned Christian is your favorite wrestler, right? So I want to know, this is a big
He's in
debate.
the top 5. I would say X-Pac's my all-time favorite, but Christian is really high up there. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we'll get into that list in a little bit because I'm actually curious. But I want to know, this is a big debate with my friend and I. What is the best Christian/Christian Cage theme?
Oh man. Well, there's the original there's the original Edge and Christian theme, right? So there's the At Last theme, Christian. That one, right? So that one's classic. Then there's like the waterproof blonde version of Close Your Eyes, right? The one that he originally had with Tom Pro and everything. Yeah. And then there's the emo version of that song, which is like his WWE theme, I think. So
beautiful.
And then his like TNA theme, right? So it's tough for me. I'm not a big fan of like emo music and all that sort of thing, or like that kind of voice. Tom. So, dude, I'm sorry.
Now we have a derivative for the feud. Now we have a
Oh, it's all over emo music, of course. Why would you?
Look at me.
No, man, it's cool. Everybody likes what they like. I'm okay.
Of course,
yeah. But that theme, I got used to it, and still, it was like, this is like the Christian's annoying everyone theme when he's world heavyweight champion. So I'm all for that. But I do like the countdown and the TNA theme as well that he has now, which is like pretty similar. So I think it's a tie for me between the Close Your Eyes theme, which I think he obviously is really really partial to, and then like the TNA theme that he has now is like or I guess what's his AEW theme. They're both good as long as he's actually wrestling. To me, I don't know that I have a preference, to be honest with you. So
oh man,
it doesn't sound like I settled the debate though. So.
Well, yeah, my favorite probably, because I did grow up watching wrestling like around 2008, around there, I think. So probably the emo version of Just Close Your Eyes. Oh man, hits home. I think that's what started it all for me, for like the emo.
Yeah,
a lot of theme songs did that for me, I feel like.
Yeah, because it sent you in the right pathway for music then.
Yeah. Well, not your right pathway, so we'll feud about
that.
Well,
my right pathway is like an old man's right pathway, dude. So don't worry about it.
But okay, well, we covered wrestling and everything like that. And I want to know, let's go back into Ringside Collectibles for a little bit, because you're still doing stuff with them. We didn't see you for a little bit, for a few years. I was like, where's my boy Tom? What's he doing? What's he at? And then at AEW, their Jazzwares Toy Fair 2020 booth, we saw you again. I was like, oh my God, what year is it? You know what I mean? I think even Matt Cardona posted a photo of commented on a photo of you and Jeremy. And it was like, what year is it? The funniest thing. But
he couldn't believe it.
Yeah, dude. Oh, I couldn't believe it as well. So happy to see my boy Tom back. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man.
And of course, you interview all these talents as well, especially who have figures coming out. And I want to know, like, what's going through your mind when you're interviewing some of these big stars, because they are big stars, and you can't have to take it for granted.
I think some of them are bigger than others. So and I'm not saying that to knock anybody, but I obviously Ringside Collectibles have had the opportunity to be exposed to all kinds of different people, and I think there's some people that it's been cool enough that I've made friends with them. I think there's some people that, they maybe aren't so interested in figures. So they're like, oh man, this kind of interview again. Regardless of who it is and what like the in the moment relationship might seem like, I'm really thinking about everybody like you that's watching, or like anybody that would be watching this. I always have in my head, like, knowing not just myself as like a wrestling figure fan, but everyone else, what it's like for wrestling figure fans to really want to know what people are thinking about this topic in particular, and then expand on that a little bit. So there's like some, we have a really large audience for kids also, right? You were 10 when you were watching initially. So
Yeah.
it's really important for me to keep that in mind and make sure like I'm hitting all the right points with every different person that might be watching. So in my head, I'm just thinking, yeah, it's cool. This person could be a big star, but also like, what am I actually going to ask John Cena about? That's probably like the biggest name I've interviewed at this point. And I want to make sure it's something that he can give like a solid answer to, like some question that is really going to give some insight into something that they're maybe not really often talking about in other places. Because wrestling figures, like, we watch it all, we hear it all here, right? Like, we don't see that so much in other places. So it's got to be really interesting, and it's got to be really fun. And so, to your point before, like from a journalism perspective or what have you, I just want to make sure that it's going to be substantial, and I know what I'm talking about, and nobody out there like thinks I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So like, I'm always going to know what I'm talking about with wrestling figures.
That's like an inside struggle. Yeah. Like I did an interview with Greg Mitchell, as you did as well, at Toy Fair. And that was all going through my mind. Like, do people even want to know about this? So I had a long time to kind of figure out my questions and everything like that, expand, add, edit, delete, what have you, as you said.
Yeah. I think the guys at the your Greg Mitchells, your Magic Almost, like your Bill McKenna or your Steve Ozer, like those guys are the same as us. So they yes, it's like their full-time job and they're really involved with it, but they have like a similar passion for what we're collecting and what we're doing, and what like a place like Ringside Collectibles makes available, So they're definitely, I think, some of the easier ones to talk to, because dude, get granular, ask those guys questions. Like, don't be afraid to ask them stuff. If they don't want to answer it, they'll find a way either to not answer it or to just flat out tell you no. And that's totally okay. There's not always things that they can or can't speak about. So, but for me, I think those guys are really open to some like hard-hitting questions, as long as you're not being a whiner about it. And when you ask them that and you're polite and it's like normal, it's just a part of the business, right? So
yeah. Plus, Greg, when I was talking to him, I was just like, I didn't even have to say anything this whole time. He can talk for a long time and give very valid and efficient information, I noticed. And I was like, my job's so easy. I was stressing about this. You know what I mean?
No, dude. Hey, Greg Mitchell is definitely a talker, so that's true. At the same time,
if you're watching, shout out to Greg.
He's probably not, but yes, shout out to Greg. Maybe he will. He saw my face and he was like, "No way."
He gave me one of these.
No, I'm just teasing. But yeah, you're spot on. Like, he'll have things that he wants to say, and he'll answer those questions for you. And the fact that he even took that time just shows like how valuable he feels like talking to somebody like Nick Storm is, So that's good. It's important, and it's really awesome. I think also thinking about other action figure collectors and toy places and things like that. They don't really have this as much. Like we can talk to not just like the designers, but like the folks that are being designed. Like you don't get that with like a Marvel and DC figure. I don't think, you don't get
can't
that
interview
really
Spider-Man.
With, like,
he's a fake character.
Yeah, exactly. Anakin Skywalker would kill you, He'd slaughter the whole crew of wrestling figure younglings and it would be over. He's like, I don't want to talk about this.
It's like, oh, really, guys? Third time this week. Seriously, let's talk about something else,
So I think it's really cool that it's so accessible for all of us. And also, I love the fact that there's so many people that set this up from a journalist perspective and do it with like real passion, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
it's one thing to, it's cool to like, oh, you have a following and stuff like that. But from what I see, most folks with like wrestling figures, they're not so worried about their following. They do it because they really care about what the product is and what's going on, and it's fun for them. And I think that's like the most important part of it, is making sure that it's it is supposed to be fun, and it is supposed to be a hobby at the end of the day. It's not supposed to be things that something that everyone's like at each other's throats over. So, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, exactly that. So you talked a little bit about like the big names that you say like John Cena and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to know, if you had to, what is your favorite interview you done, and what's the one that just didn't go the way you planned?
Oh boy. This, I feel like this is a slightly easy question.
Yeah.
So I'll start with the one that didn't go the way I planned. That was, there's a TNA event, I think from like 2012 or 2013, where I interviewed Bully Ray.
Oh yeah.
And leading up to the interview, he was very not happy to be talking about us, and he was like in talking with us, and he was in the thick of Bully Ray on TV at the time, and so he was like totally in character, man. And I was just like, I hadn't started training yet and all these things, so I was like lacking a little bit of confidence at the time, also in a way that he's a really big guy. Like
Yeah.
one of the things that's really interesting for me is like, I'm a pretty big guy. Like, my
You're a tall
muscles could
drink of water, Tom.
use some work, but I'm a tall drink of water. Thank you. And Bully Ray is, so sometimes you come across guys that are like really, really big, like
Hmm.
Randy Orton, way bigger looking in person than I imagine. Matt Morgan, probably like the biggest guy I've ever seen. Like
Yeah.
he is huge in person. And then Bully Ray is another guy that was just so much bigger in person. This first time that I interviewed him, I've seen him since then, like at a few different wrestling shows and stuff like that in the locker room, but not like in that exact moment when I first saw him, and I was just like talking to him, and he so I normally, when you set up like an interview with somebody, they kind of go, you explain to them what's going on. Like, for example, this same day I interviewed Bobby Roode, who walked up to me and was like, all right, what are we talking about? Like, he wanted to know a little rundown of what's going on. Bully Ray, I assumed, also wanted this rundown, and so I said, so we're just going to ask you about this and this. And he turned to some cameraman or something that was next to him and said, hey, tell him he don't need to tell me what I have to say about me. And I was like, here we go. Great. So he's like clearly not happy to be doing wrestling. This. Yeah, that's totally it, man. And so, of course, right away, I'm like shaking in my boots. Like, here's huge Bully Ray, who I've seen like beating the crap out of people for so long. And he's like not happy to be talking to me. And now he's being like kind of a D word to me and all these things. But then we had this interview, and he just kind of like stone faced it. And it actually, if you watch it, it actually turned out to be like a pretty good interview. You know, he went into this like Pulp Fiction quote and stuff. And but after that moment, I was like, I can't let that happen to me again. So I have to be ready for these kinds of things instead of like, I think it's also a little bit different because I'm in those positions more, I think, than most folks might be, like that close to a personality like that, or at least I was at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I just knew, I was like, this kind of sucked, but I need a little more confidence. Not that I'm gonna like kick Bully Ray's ass or something, but obviously. But well, maybe that should be my out of retirement match. Who knows? Yeah. He would kick my ass, but it's
don't worry.
It'd be fine.
It'd be like a 2-on-1 like handicap. I'll be in the corner doing nothing because I'm like a 5'10" vanilla midget, so I won't be doing anything.
The whole story is like me finally, like Bully Ray making me earn my place in wrestling, but then me pulling the swerve by bringing in Nick Storm, showing his dark void in his eyes directly to Bully Ray, and then just like melting him out of existence. So that's how we booked that match.
Yeah.
So that was a really challenging one. I think beyond that, probably the best one it's hard to say, man. Like I had a lot of fun talking to geez, I had a lot of fun talking to Daniel Bryan one time. I had a lot
he's
of fun
great.
talking to, yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He was like such a laid back, cool guy. Abyss, when he was Abyss still,
Yeah.
I had a
Okay.
great interview with him. That dude was just like
You would
so
not think
nice.
that
And
about Abyss.
yeah, you wouldn't, but at the
Yeah.
time he was, I think it was when he was like wearing Hulk Hogan's Hall of Fame ring. So he
Oh,
was like
yeah.
super babyface Abyss. And he was like,
Gotcha.
yeah, dude. I always think when Hulk Hogan said Abyss would be the next John Cena, I always thought he was right. He could have been. So, who else? I interviewed Kelly Kelly one time, and I saved her life right before it happened. So that was really nice.
Go into detail about that. Oh my God.
We were at Comic-Con one time, and
Yeah.
there's like this Mattel tower, which is basically these really like skinny stairs going up into a booth, and we had to do the interviews up at the top of this tower. And so Kelly Kelly, of course, like dressed to the nines, in great shape, like super styling. She's walking up these stairs and she has really big heels, and she just kind of like slips on one of the stairs. Right in that moment, I had a camera on my shoulder. I had my arm right here, my other arm, and I just was like, boop, caught her right there. Kept her from falling all the way down the stairs, helped her back up, and that was it.
Oh my.
And she was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then we had the interview, and I think, it was just super awkward after that.
Yeah.
No, but that, she was really nice. That was cool. There's a legendary Ringside Fest interview with AJ Lee that I know everybody like references all the time.
Yeah, dude, I was trying to
day.
find photos of like you for like my Instagram and stuff like that to promote it, and it was that one of you going, next to AJ. Oh my God, great freaking interview.
I think I won't say anything about like, I think a lot of people were making some pretty like warranted and funny jokes about like us sitting there, and she was like laughing at me a lot and stuff, but I think we just kind of connected on a nerd level. It wasn't anything that was like too much beyond that. And I think that makes, I'll say like the best interviews are the ones where you can kind of get that chemistry going, and it feels more like a promo than an interview, like it's some folks really like at the time that I used to do those interviews gave me a lot of room to be myself. And I would, of course, like always think like they're the subject, right? So that you have to like kind of make sure you take that step back and give them the room to be themselves, but more so. And so that's the best way to do it. You got to let somebody like a Kelly Kelly, even, or from Kelly Kelly to Abyss to somebody like Big E or whatever, like let them be themselves and let that personality shine, So a lot of fun.
Yeah, especially someone like Big E. I think he can just, you put him in front of a camera, he'll do anything, He's so great.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So awesome, cool. So you mentioned that you actually, you do have figures with you here in Slovenia. Beautiful, beautiful. I love this. I've been looking at that painting in the background for like the whole thing.
It's just so nice. Yeah. Oh, wrong one. There we go.
It's one of the Rock. I was actually talking about the Rock painting of the figure.
If only he were in that painting, just cutting a promo under that colorful tree.
Yeah.
So it is very nice. Very, very beautiful painting.
Very beautiful.
I do have some other figures here. You want to see it? You want to see some?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Sure. Let me show you.
Are you doing like Figure Insiders remote, like from here and stuff?
Not quite, but definitely we've had to. I was able to catch up on some Figure Insiders and things like that before. There's some things I can do with it remotely, and there's some things I had to film at home because I'm back actually with Ringside Collectibles in a full-time capacity now. So yeah, don't tell anybody. That's actually, you may be like the first person to ever that's like an exclusive on your side. So
wait, can I release this?
Yeah, sure, but just don't make like such a huge deal out of it.
Let's go, dude. My boy Tom's back.
How about this? Your exclusive is that I'm with Ringside again, but we won't say what for what or why. So how's that sound?
Cogs are turning, Tom. I hope you know.
So that's really exciting. But yeah, it's been an interesting summer because of that, and there's been like some really cool stuff that we've been able to do here. And so what I do have is I know you saw in the rundown, the San Diego Comic-Con rundown video this year. I had I've got the Cactus Jack
Man,
exclusive
yeah.
here,
I was
looking
so
good.
jealous. The first
Yeah,
second of
pretty
that video, I
cool.
was like, "Is that no? That's not." And then yeah, it seems you have
Oh,
the
it's him.
Cactus Jack. Yeah. Oh my god.
And then have the tag team championship here.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Uh, and let's see what else I've got. I have that Amazon X-Pac, which is not on Ringside Collectibles currently, but he's my all-time favorite. So
Yeah,
no
that's a
big
great
deal.
figure too.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's even better in person,
Yeah.
I
Probably
was
the best X-Pac
complaining.
figure, I think.
I think so too. I was complaining a little bit about the bandana at first, but now like I've gotten used to it. I think it really works the way that, especially when you look at like the side profile and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, man. That's
Really, really
awesome.
good. Yeah, super quality. And then like the cane mask it's a little wild and bloated here, but we remember that.
Yeah.
So this is maybe one thing that I would like if I was customizing again or anything like that. I'd maybe like trim this down a little bit and put like a little rubber band strap to it so you can just put it right
There
on
you
his
go.
head.
You have the itch.
Yeah, those are the fun things about like figures, man. Like the fix ups, and you
Oh yeah.
can't knock that community. So
Yeah.
I have AEW Unmatched, a few of those figures here. So like Miro,
Oh cool.
I've got him sitting
Oh
here.
man.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also
best man.
the best man, God's favorite champion, as he calls himself now.
Yeah, it's got a hot wife, flexible hot wife.
Hey, what can you say? Life can't get any better than that, right? And then so I've also got the ringside exclusive Blood Brothers 2-pack here.
Oh,
With
cool.
Cody and Dustin.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it, man. Just a couple of random ones like that. And the rock up there is from the Rock and Sock Connection 2-pack. I have
Cool.
the Mankind from that set also. So
Oh, that's so cool.
plenty of Faces of Foley remote here.
Yeah, of course. All of them.
Yeah, and I like this one because he's got like these like light blue pants, and I don't think we've ever really had that Mankind before.
Yeah.
So
I feel like, yeah, they had to
sweet.
do that for that 2-pack, or otherwise it'd just
Yeah.
be like a re-release. So I like that. They did
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Me too. We always gotta love when there's some good variety, And then I know you're a big fan, so here's the unmatched one Kenny Omega here. Looking good.
Oh my god. Wait, sorry.
Oh, you fainted. Oh, there you are.
I fainted.
I got my camera for some reason was like obscured for a minute, so I didn't see.
Oh no, I was just
all I heard was your voice, and I was like, oh no.
I was probably staring right in here, and because like your camera was like, oh, there's the eyes, you know what I mean? So,
oh, perfect. So there he is. Look, now I'm him. Hey.
Whoa, wait.
Hello. I'm Kenny Omega interviewing on the Nick Storm show. I'm the cleaner. I'm cleaning right now. Clean.
Damn, are you like a janitor, Kenny?
Oh.
That's crazy.
Yes.
6-star interview right there.
So yeah, this is a pretty good one too. I also really like the AEW lines. I can't wait to see what's coming out there. Obviously, I'll be first in line for a Christian Cage figure, and who knows what else. Like,
yeah,
you never know, man. You never know with this stuff. Anything can happen.
Exactly, especially rumors been speculating. I think they said either CM Punk or you. I think you're going for that CM Punk look right now, so it could be you.
Could be. I think if Dramatico ever comes back, it'll be in a way that it's like a lot more intense than it's been in the past. So really, really effective. So am I assigning imagine they're making all that hype and then like Dramatico debuts like that would I think that would be like par for the course with everyone's expectations, because people seem to be really unhappy with AEW signings a lot of the times, which I don't understand because they all make me happy. So
I'm like, oh, this guy, okay, that's cool, but this guy, oh, okay, that's cool, and then this guy, you know what I mean? Like, how can you be sad about that? Oh, it's just WWE guys. Well, WWE stop releasing them. There you go.
Yeah.
Rant over. Okay, but speaking about figures and everything like that, I want to know, when did you start collecting, and what was the first thing you ever collected?
I had the very first wrestling figure I had was actually a bone crunching action Jax Stone Cold.
Dude, I had that one.
So
I had one like that as well. Yeah.
the one with the goatee and like the white wrist tape, and
Yeah.
I was really into that. And then later on, I got the Jax like Titantron playset. So those like Titantron live figures, like the first ones where they had like the really kind of goofy faces.
Oh
I
yeah.
had I had X Pac and Kane, and I had like I think Austin and Undertaker. I also had this great like I even had like some WCW ones. I had the DDP where he like squeezes his legs together and he does the diamond cutter was
Oh
like a
yeah.
really good one. That
Yeah.
was
No.
like a classic figure. So pretty much just anything I would see at the store that I could randomly grab, I would get. And then I kind of, I would say like I stopped figure collecting for a while, and I kind of even wrestling in general, like the dark
Yeah, me
years for
too.
me are like 2003 to like 2000, and then until I started working at Ringside again. So that whole like deep into the ruthless aggression era until like the Cena era and stuff like that, I didn't really have much of a collection or anything. But then you get back, I got to Ringside for the first time, and I was like, well, this is great. Like this is this is what I can this is a lot of fun, and I'm a big fan, and I love the way they've improved over the years, and it's been really great to see. And even the Jax figures, those were all really awesome as they improved, and those were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a wrestling figures is they're great toy lines, man. It's a really cool thing to collect, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And I also heard that Elite, 69 or even Elite 100, sorry, leaked to have Nick Storm with a Bullet Club shirt in a WWE Elite line. Yep, this is all real. Don't know how they got the rights to that. Probably lawsuit, but it's whatever.
Could be. What's the variant on that Nick Storm? If the
Uh,
mainline one is the Bullet Club, obviously there's a variant. So
hmm. I'd probably have to say, I have to think about this. What would my variant be? What do you think my variant would be?
In the Liv Morgan jacket, like a big fluffy puffy one.
Oh man, yeah, dude. If I just had like a big pimp jacket, dude.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
big like a
Godfather never
Jamiroquai
had
top
one for
hat.
some reason, so I don't.
Yeah.
At least I don't think he did. So the pimp jacket's still out there to take on, and I think you should be the one to do it. So
Give me all the cloth goods. I'll have like a Hogan boa, like completely cloth good as well.
just as many as you can.
Yeah,
You're gonna be sweating, and you're gonna weigh like 90 pounds after it's over, but
yeah.
it'll be worth it.
That's what's good about it being on the figure and not me. You know what I mean? It's like a
Yeah,
clone.
true. Good point.
It's like a
Yeah,
clone
yeah.
that no one falls for. It's great. But yeah, you mentioned all these great lines. What's your favorite to collect?
I'm all about the elite figures, so
Yeah.
I think those are and also like the AEW unrivaled and unmatched now. Like that articulation is really good. I was super. I do have a few. There. Yeah, look at that. You
Can
can't get any
he?
better than that, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
there
dude.
he is.
So good.
Like you can. The fact that you can pull off the moves you can pull off, like I think just from a play perspective, but then also like obviously figure photography is so cool to see what some folks do. It's really enjoyable. That's kind of like a whole subgenre of the whole thing is like the
Yeah,
seeing
man.
folks figure photography is really awesome. And for me, the fact that like companies like Jazzwares and Mattel are setting folks up to be able to like be so successful with these things, it's a lot of fun. It's really, really, really cool. And so I do, but I was also a fan of like the classic deluxe, like the deluxe lines, because I do like I know everyone loves scale and stuff like that, but the deluxe figures, the way that they were like kind of larger than life a little bit, like those were really awesome. So I still have like an Austin and a Rock from there and a couple other things, and
Yeah.
so I'm a fan of those lines as well. Whatever's got the most detail, whatever's the most fun. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah, those deluxe. Some of the deluxe ones still hold up in my opinion, because
yeah, I agree with you.
yeah, 100% for like nostalgia and just also figures in general as well. Like
Totally.
there's great deluxe ones. All right, let's see what else I have on my cheat code here. Cheat
Go for
list.
it.
Um, la, 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 la. Okay, right here it says yeah, Dramatico figure versus Nick Storm figure. I don't know what that means, but
Shoot. If
do
I
you have
had
your
him here,
Dramatico?
I don't, unfortunately, not with me.
He's
Sorry,
off running
man. Yeah,
errands.
he's off running errands. He's He's signing bills in the United States because I can't be there. So
Okay.
I leave him behind to take care of the grown up stuff.
Is he the one's getting the stimmy checks?
He's getting the stimmy checks, man. It goes right in his pocket. So
Man,
I'm
that's
like,
gonna go
don't
to
you
his head
realize
as well.
I need that money?
Yeah. Dude. Oh my goodness. Well,
What he spends it on, who knows? That's the other story. It
yeah.
remains a mystery.
Well, I'll tell you what. He's actually been in contact with my Nick Storm figure. He's actually flying him out to Boston, wherever the hell he is. So I think they're gonna have a match.
Okay.
Yeah. Who would you place your bet on if they would have a stop motion figure?
If they would have a stop motion match,
Yeah.
I think the Nick Storm figure at this point has a lot more experience maybe than the Dramatico figure, but also like, man, you can't go wrong with like a clone of somebody with like some in-ring action, you know. So
Yeah.
if
Dramatico
Dramatico hits a real move, like that could be a problem, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You can hire like I don't know, Hulk Hogan to be like
True, yeah.
So
he could hire an enforcer, yeah. Virgil maybe even. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, cool.
Why not?
Very true. All right. Well, it's been a really freaking fun chat with you, man. I've got some closing questions here.
Sure.
This one is: did you know that Chris Jericho refuses any cheese besides mozzarella?
I did. Why did I know that? I did know that. Is that something I said? I think it is.
Yeah, a little bit of the bubbly review.
Oh yeah. Oh well, that's Dramatico said that though, didn't he?
Oh
yeah.
Dude, sorry, I can't see anything with these on, man. I don't have.
It's all good. Yeah, you're like, it sounds like him, but maybe it's not.
Yeah. Do you guys get mixed up a lot?
I think we definitely get mixed up. I think it's like a split personality is a frightening thing to have, but you know, it has its like pluses and minuses, I would say.
Yeah. Well, he's the one getting the stimmy check, so you guys must
That's
get mixed up a lot.
Oh, man. Sometimes I'll just show up and I'll think I have money, but I won't. And he's just spent it all. What a bummer.
He just sends you a FaceTime of like him going like this, you know.
What a dick, that guy.
Yeah, right, dude. Okay, if anyone should get canceled, it's a Dramatico figure.
Yeah,
start the hashtag.
Yeah, maybe.
Hashtag Dramatico canceled.
Oh, maybe not, because then if somebody sees that hashtag, they can think it means anything.
Yeah. Okay. Let's completely scratch that.
Okay,
let's do Nick Storm canceled. Let's get me in the buzz.
No, we don't want that either, man.
But imagine all the money and follows I could get.
You won't get any money from being canceled. You'll get nothing.
I get negative money. I won't get any job opportunities.
Yeah, they'll take it away from you.
Hell yeah.
They'll come into your house and they'll be like, we're going to, none of this belongs to you anymore. You belong, in the bushes or something.
Yeah, something Australian. We have
who
bushes
knows?
over here, I think. I can't remember. I can't see anything, guys. I can't. So whenever I do a review and I say details about something, I'm just guessing.
And look how often you're right. So clearly you were meant to do this. So.
Am I right? I don't know. Yeah.
I think so. From what I've seen.
Great. Well, that actually blows my mind that you've watched some of my videos.
Yeah, of course, man. Cool. I'm always looking. Always even the people that follow me and unfollow me, I know who you are, and I'm always watching.
Always watching. Yeah. Exactly. Cool. Well, yeah, this has been an awesome chat. And one last question to you, Mr. Thomas, is: do you have any advice for someone like myself or anyone trying to get into interviewing and stuff like that? / it says here / how do I get a job at Ringside, please?
It's a great question. Totally fair. What I would say, anybody that's thinking about what it would be like to work at either Ringside or a place like Ringside, I think journalism is you're thinking about the right things, but that's only like a part of it. So it's like multifaceted. So what I would say is like, keep doing what you're doing, man. Like digital production, that sort of thing is really huge, not just here. You know, like I told you, I left Ringside in 2013 and I was working on all kinds of digital production and things like that for all sorts of other things aside from wrestling figures. And there's a lot of, it's competitive, but there's a lot of work out there to kind of learn a trade to get to a place that maybe is like a more exciting trade for you. So even if you have to take a job and you're like doing digital production for something you maybe like care about a little less, not that you shouldn't care about what you're doing, and
it's still experience.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be happy at work. And I would never tell anybody to go and do something that they want to, beat their head into their desk over. But I would say like getting experience, making sure that you're really good at the way that at understanding the way productions go, like in a really organized way. Like I'm a really organized guy when it comes to building this kind of stuff. And it's really important to me personally to make sure that everything is like well thought out, well planned, because well laid out. Because when it comes time to actually shoot things and do things, things can always change. So you have to be like well thought out, but you also have to be like adaptable when things do change and not freak out. Being like calm and collected, understanding all this stuff as you're like shooting things and filming things and writing things and recording things, like whether it's a podcast or you're doing like photography. Do as much of this stuff as you can and try to be like as organized about it as you can, but also like as ready for anything as you can. And if you get good like that and you like really are confident in your abilities and you can really bring like smart ideas to the table, like, hey, this is different than how everybody else does it. Like, this is what, that's what I did when I first got to Ringside. Like, I'm thinking in my head, how can this be different from other like product reviewers? I think you can be kind of the next big thing if you're being different, being cool, being like trying to do something new that other folks aren't necessarily doing. So do all that and just be good at it. Be good at your trade. Like really learn it. Really learn what that's like. And whether it's like Ringside Collectibles or somewhere else, like when the need is there for somebody to be working in that job and like controlling like a social media channel and like thinking about campaigns and stuff, be humble about it, but be good at it, and I think to me that's the best advice that I could give.
That's terribly important. Everything you listed off there. Thanks a lot again for coming on here, man. Really appreciate it. You've been a big part of my life and a lot of other people in the wrestling figure community's lives. And all we have to say is thank you so much for all the good times. Like you said you saw a lot of, or maybe not a lot, but you saw yourself in my videos. And I think the reason for that is because people like you creating the content and people like Grim as well. Grim was, oh my god, you know Grim, right? Grim's Toy Show.
I do know Grim, yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. So yeah, it shaped the way the wrestling figure community is today. I feel like because without you guys, you pioneers, there is no wrestling figure community.
Thanks, man. It's really nice to hear that, and I'm glad even just to I think y'all are creative on your own when you are that way, and I just happen to do it in the beginning. That's all, so it's really cool of me to know that you're able to see that and watch that and take what little inspiration from that you do, and then just go out there and just have fun with it, because it should be fun at the end of the day. Exactly. And also no one should be like cranky with each other. Like, let's just like have a good time and enjoy this.
Exactly. Sweet. Thank you, Tom. Is there anything you want to shout out? Any social medias, any upcoming things that you're doing? Maybe shout it out. The floor is yours.
That's it for me, man. I think if anybody wants to follow me, I'm at Dramatico Rising on all social channels. There's no Facebook or anything like that, but Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all at Dramatico Rising.
TikTok, I need to get onto that.
There's a couple TikToks. We're still working on that, but it's moving in that direction. That's the way of the world, right? And so I'm always going to be at Dramatico Rising. And I would also say make sure you follow Ringside Collectibles. It's at Ringside C. The YouTube channel, there's like the Dramatico YouTube channel, my own, that's like Dramatico Rising, and then also the Ringside C YouTube channel, and of course like Ringside Collectibles on all social media, so you can not only see all like the new products and stuff like that, but like I said, I'm not going to say why or what's up, but soon enough, like I'm trying to help out Ringside in a full-time capacity these days. And I think there's a lot of exciting, fun things we can do, because we're at a place where it's a wrestling figure boom, man. Like with AEW, where we just sat here and had a conversation about the possibility of maybe like CM Punk or even somebody like Daniel Bryan going to AEW, right? These are monumental things, not just for like the wrestling business, but for the wrestling figure business. And so I think keeping an eye out on that kind of stuff. Let's just like enjoy the ride together and see what Ringside Collectibles has in store for that.
Yeah. Also, Ringside Collectibles, give me code ICON at checkout. Thank you so much. But yeah, Tom, thank you so much again for joining me. And thank you all so much for watching. Appreciate ya. Follow Tom. All his media links will be in the description. Yeah, Tom, thank you again. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Nick.
So guys, what you just witnessed there was history in the frickin' making. We had Tom Sanford V from Ringside Collectibles. He's done so many projects for Ringside Collectibles, and I was fortunate enough to actually have him on my podcast and chat with him for this hour. And if you've stuck around for this hour, thank you so frickin' much. Make sure to hit the like button if you've stuck around this long. And also, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new to the channel, I do figure reviews, podcasts like this, and I want to do more as well. Also, another thing, guys, I want to campaign to try and get code ICON at checkout on Ringside Collectibles to save yourself 10%. I want to get it. I haven't gotten it yet, and I feel like we, as an army, have the power to do so. So, if you care about that, freaking go yell at Ringside Collectibles and tell them to do that. Okay? But with that being said, I want to thank Thomas again for coming on, because this has been awesome. This is like such a nostalgia trip for me, because I was watching Ringside Collectibles, Ringside of Riot since I was like 10 or 11 or something like that. So to do this with Tom, it was freaking insane. I still am kind of blown away by it. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, do everything I said previously. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Find me on Instagram here at NickStormReview. And yeah, keep up to date with me. Follow this channel. And I love you to bits. Thank you so much for sticking around this long. Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye-bye.
Nick Storm, the Australian icon.